Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to Sutlej Textile and Industries Limited Q2 FY22 earnings conference call. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star, then 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Bipin Walame, CFO and Whole-Time Director. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. I welcome you all to the earnings conference call of Sutlej Textile and Industries Limited for quarter and half year ended September 2021. And I hope that all of you and your family continue to remain safe. I have with me Mr. Updeep Singh Chatra, President and CEO of Sutlej Textiles and Industries Limited, and Stellar IR Advisors, our investment relationship team. The result presentation has been uploaded on the exchanges, and I hope everyone had an opportunity to look at it. I will take you through financial performance highlights, followed by industry and business insight by Shri Updeep ji. After seeing a year full of challenges for our last 1 year COVID-19 pandemic, we saw a sharp recovery and revival in the Indian textile industry since last couple of quarters, with opening of economies which continued in quarter 2 FY22 with increased demand in both domestic and export markets. We witnessed good traction in domestic as well as the export market, with realization increasing in both markets. Yarn business export during the quarter contributed 45% to the sales as compared to 34% in Q2 FY21. The capacity utilization levels stood at around 94%, which has reached pre-COVID levels. We have improvement in utilization level both on year-on-year basis and sequentially on account of improving demand. During the quarter ended September 2021, the company reported consolidated total income of 798 crore against 473 crore in Q2 FY21, witnessing a strong growth of 68% year-on-year and growth of 35% sequentially. For H1 FY22, the consolidated total income stood at 1388 crore against 671 crore in H1 FY21, a growth of 107% year-on-year basis. The consolidated EBITDA during the quarter was 107 crore as against 25 crore in quarter 2 FY21, a growth of 330% year-on-year and 41% sequentially compared to Q1 FY22. The EBITDA margin stood at 13.4% in Q2 FY22 compared to 4% year-on-year and 12.9% sequentially. EBITDA for H1 FY22 stood at 183 crore, 60 crore in H1 FY21. Reported consolidated PAT of rupees 42 crore as against 5 crore in Q2 FY21 and 20 crore in Q1 FY22. During H1 FY22, PAT stood at 62 crore against loss of 43 in H1 FY21. I would also like to highlight that on balance sheet side, we have been able to consistently trying to reduce the overall debt. The total debt was at 41 crore, which is significantly at lower level. Moreover, our gearing, which has been contained below 1 since past few years, have further reduced to 0.83 times, which is also historical low level. Lastly, we would like to highlight that presently around 45% of the working capital limits remain unutilized, thereby providing the company with adequate liquidity to meet its obligation as demand revives. That is all from my side. Now I would like to request Shri Updeep ji to share business outlook and industry scenario, and then we can open the floor for question and answer. Thank you, and over to Shri Updeep ji.
Thank you, Bipin, and good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us on this call of Sutlej Textiles, and I hope you all are fine. Indian textile industry, as you would all know, has seen and gone through a positive change in market dynamics and have experienced a recovery after headwinds faced in the past due to COVID-19. A highly buoyant export market and favorable export policy helped sector to revive and emerge even stronger. And today, a lot of optimism prevails for Indian textile and apparel sector on account of strong performance, which was expected over a long run and is expected to be there in the time to come. The global buyers China Plus One strategy, that is to de-risk their supply chains from China, riding on India's tremendous strength in textile and spate of government initiatives over the last few months in the sunrise sector are fueling growth and propelling Indian textile and apparel industry to a multi-year growth trajectory. I mean, as our Minister of Textiles and Commerce said in the recent past, it's like rising phoenix. Even 1% shift of global market share offers India an export opportunity of almost $8 billion. And the government initiative to enhance the ease of doing business, generate employment, create market access, and correct sectors' weaknesses like lack of scale, boost textile export, and ambitious schemes like PLI scheme for MMF segment, mega investment textile parks, Mitra scheme, and extension of ROSTCL and notification of road tax rates, and different FTAs being planned will benefit the entire textile value chain. It will provide a level playing field and enhance India's competitiveness in global export market. As you all know, spinning companies have been witnessing strong demand in yarn business. With the second largest spinning mill capacity in the world after China, Indian spinners should expect, and going forward, also they should expect full utilization of their capacities and superior margins due to robust demand, particularly on account of US and China on Xinjiang cotton. Indian textile players have also actually embarked upon aggressive capex planning to the tune of 20 to 40% across spinning and garment manufacturing to ride the current wave of high export demand in textiles. Similarly, the same thing happened with Satluj. Satluj being a trusted brand in yarn industry, we are focusing toward expanding the footprint in terms of home furnishing as well, and we launched this brand Nestera in our home textile segment. And we have also boosted our marketing activities in home textile segment with Nestera, with having advertisement and events. As we are aware, building a brand is a gradual process wherein initial years are crucial to build strong foundation, post which we can start to reap the benefits in the near future. The home textile business will enable Satluj to enter into the next leg of growth, and we are quite bullish on that. As a result, we have also taken on board one of a very seasoned person to head this home textile division across India and US in American silk mills. And we strongly believe that strong yarn business and uprising home textile business will lead us in Satluj to deliver robust performance and continue to add value to its stakeholders. I must also acknowledge the effort put in by our team and well guided by our executive chairman and the board that we are able to perform well in this quarter two, and we have shown good results. I think if there is any question that I can answer on the raw material and others, so I leave it for the organizers for the question and answer session.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Yash Agarwal from JM Financial. Please go ahead.
Good evening, sir. Congrats on a good set of numbers. My first question is on the man-made yarn side. How have the realization and the raw material costs panned out in the last 2 months? like we've seen some bit of rise in cotton. What is the scenario on the man-made side? How the costs and the realization moving in the last September-October month?
Hello?
Hello?
Sorry. Thanks, Yash, for asking this question. So on the raw material side, if we talk of the man-made fiber, so man-made fiber in the last 2 months, I would say from 1st September till date has increased, say, from 98 rupees to 170 rupees per kg. So it is almost, you can say 22 rupees change towards the higher side. And we have witnessed similarly that there is an increase in the realization also. The realization although would not have gone by the same amount because there is always a lag. And today we have witnessed a realization of almost 20 rupees, about 18 to 20 rupees per kg on the yarn side.
Yeah. What is the exact quantum of the yarn? What is the absolute number of the yarn realization on man-made side?
On man-made fiber, our average realization is to the extent of 200. Today the price is ranging in the range of 245. Our average had been in Q2 249.
So the Q2 price was 249 and today it's 245.
One was 246. Sorry, Q1 was 246.
And Q2?
Q2 is 249.
Okay, and currently that is how much?
It is ranging in the range of 255.
And so what is the major raw material? It's polyester viscose, is it, for you?
Yeah, for this yarn it is polyester and viscose.
Got it. Also, sir, I wanted to understand, you mentioned that about 48% of the business is from yarn, right? If I heard it correctly, the 48 of the percent. What percentage of the revenue is from the yarn side?
So in our case, the entire yarn as a total segment, we get almost 95% of revenue from yarn. We are basically into spinning.
Okay.
So the home textile business contributes less than 5% at this point in time.
Sure. And what is the mix between cotton and man-made in the yarn on the yarn side?
Okay. Now, cotton and man-made that when we talk about cotton, we are into melanges. Okay.
Sure.
So again, those are all blended. So broadly, the capacity is 34 to 35% is on melanges, and rest of it is man-made blends.
Got it. So the economics for melange yarn is similar to the plain cotton yarn, or there is some difference in the?
There is difference because when we say melange, see the melange prices are basically governed by a factor because it is made to order. Normal grey cotton yarn would be even made to stock as well, and there is a direct correlation between the cotton price and immediate impact is seen on the yarn price. Whereas case in melange, there is always a time lag.
Got it.
Because brand would place the order for the garment and the garmenter would place order for the fabric and the fabric maker will place order on the yarn. So that is already there in the pipeline. So the increase in the prices or any impact in the prices takes little time. So basically, yes, the prices of melange yarn also move with the raw material, but there is always a time lag. If a normal yarn would take say about 15 days, hypothetically, this will take about 40 days.
So last question from my side, could you also give a trend on the melange yarn realization of Q1, Q2 and current?
Generally what happens is that we don't consider melange as a separate thing. It's a basket because we are having a different blends and the counts.
Right.
But of course, the melange, the final applicability is into the garment like t-shirts. So generally we see a better realization in melanges compared to the others. So it could be in the range of, let's say, 300 rupees per kg.
Good. And what has been the increase from Q2? So what was it in Q2?
That's what I said, that generally when we are discussing about the yarn prices, we are taking it as a complete basket and not only Milanchal price.
So is it fair to assume that the increase in the overall yarn realization from Q2 to currently has been 3 to 4%? Is that fair assumption?
So I would say slightly more than that.
Okay. So incrementally, the margins would improve from here, or would it stay at the current level of 13 to 14%?
See, margin in case of Sutlej or any textile company is a function of the demand and supply. What we today sit and see is that we are able to have the full capacity utilization, as I mentioned, at around 94%. And we also see a demand both in domestic and export. As I mentioned in my opening remarks, that we are seeing a good amount of demand in export market. So we expect as the export market also pick up further, we will be having a certain pricing power to have the better set of numbers.
Sure. All right. Thank you so much for answering my questions.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. A reminder to the participants, anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 at this time. The next question is from the line of Yogan Jaiswal from Mittal Analytics. Please go ahead.
Hi, thanks for the opportunity, sir. Sir, couple of questions on the pricing trend again. So, given the average realization that you mentioned for man-made fibers, so do you think with the rising cost, the spreads will be maintained going forward?
I would say yes, because we do expect some sort of a correction as well in the fiber prices, in the raw material from here on. But it won't be the same as it was, say, in Q1 or before. But at the same time, the spread would squeeze little bit, not too much. So we expect that we should be in the vicinity of this in terms of spread.
Okay, that's helpful, sir. And sir, in terms of cotton, so like you mentioned, a lot of it is from man-made fiber for your case. So, but how will the cotton pricing impact you? I mean, what percentage is just cotton yarn for your case?
See, as Mr. Bipin Gulame said, that we have around 35% of cotton in our this thing. So the cotton prices definitely would impact us as well. And in our case, for example, the cotton prices, increasing cotton prices sometimes do impact us positively as well, because there is an increase in the melange yarn. So we add more value to that. So to answer your question, yes, the cotton prices as per se do impact our profitability as well. So because it is 35% of our revenues.
Yeah, just to add here that what we have seen is that if generally the demand, domestic or export, remain robust, we are able to pass on the increase in input cost to a large extent, may not be the full, if you have that question.
Okay. So, sir, secondly, like we are seeing the rise in cotton prices is substantial, between the quarter, I think 15-20% is the rise in cotton prices. So, going forward, how do we see that thing? Do we see cotton prices to, what is our expectation? Do we expect cotton prices to further go on up from here, or do we see that the prices might stabilize here? What's our take on it?
Yes. So our take on this is very clear that, see, with the season going in, we are now entering the season. We just entered the season for the North cotton, and for the Gujarat cotton, we are just entering the season. And today, if you look at our daily arrivals are in the vicinity of 140 to 150,000 bales, and which at the peak would be in the range of 270 to almost 275,000 bales, 275,000 bales. So we see that now from here onwards, you would have seen that after Diwali, the cotton prices have softened. So we expect that these cotton prices would stay. I mean, they will not go as low as in the last season, But yes, they'll be corrected and they will stay range bound somewhere in the vicinity of, this is totally by personal guess, in the vicinity of say 55 to 57,000 per candy.
Okay. Okay. And so secondly, in terms of operating margins, if we see some other peers, I think of late with the better realization and good demand utilization, a lot of them have been able to clock in kind of 20% kind of operating margin. While in our case, I think we've just been around 12-13%. So do you expect there is more scope for us to catch up, and or do we still have 12-13% as the higher range?
So here I would like to tell you, if you look at the peer comparison, we have to see with the product we are in. So in synthetics, if you look at the peer comparison, so we are almost at the highest EBITDA amongst the peers who are in synthetic business. 20% plus EBITDA you are talking about, which are predominantly grey cotton spinning companies.
Okay.
If you talk of standalone spinning.
Understood. And sir, in terms of utilization, I think Q1 and Q2 we have been on 90% kind of utilization. So going forward for the full year, do you expect some more volume growth to come in, or in terms of volume, this is the highest that we expect?
See, in Q1 we were in the range of 88%, and in Q2 we are in the range of 94%, 93 point something, in the range of 94%. Now here, the utilization is also a function of the lot size. Since we are in value added and dyed yarns, the lot size are getting smaller, MOQs are getting smaller for our exporters for the fabric. So I would say utilization in our sort of business in this vicinity of this, it could be 94, 95% as well. There is always scope for improvement. So that is the utilization we are looking at on the value added yarns.
Got it, sir. And sir, one last question from my end, and then I'll get back in the queue. So in terms of demand visibility, how do we function? I mean, do we have an order book visibility for next couple of quarters, or not so much? And whatever the case is, what is the kind of visibility we have at the moment?
See, there are two things. One, when you are talking about visibility, it is a funnel. So confirmed orders we would not like to have for that long in yarn business, especially in value-added yarns, because the prices are volatile for the raw material. So the order book at any point of time could be in the range of anywhere between, say, 25 to 45 days.
Okay.
Because the order book we won't like to have because of volatility in the yarn and the raw material prices.
Fair enough, sir. Fair enough. That's really helpful, sir. I'll get back in the queue. Thank you.
Just to add here, see, we are into the made to order. So we do a lot of sampling beforehand, and we are supplying. So you see, our inventory levels and the working capital utilization remain very, very efficient, because we don't create a significant amount of inventory in anticipation.
And also, I would say that visibility is there, but the confirmed order booking. So we have visibility based on various trends, what has been sold in the past and what is the trend going on in the marketplace, even at the consumer level. So we do all that sort of research. So we have visibility, but confirmed order I mentioned, we take normally in the vicinity of 45 days.
Okay.
Thank you. A reminder to the participants, anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 at this time. The next question is from the line of Ritesh Poladia from Girik Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. Sir, on yarn, as you said, the first grey yarn picked up. How's now value-added yarns doing? Is it already pre-COVID levels, or still there is a gap to fill?
I think even in case of value-added yarns, we are riding almost equal to, or little bit on the higher side on the pre-COVID level.
Okay. Second, on your green fiber, last quarter, there was some anomaly regarding the prices, even though raw material prices were quite high. How is that doing now?
In green fiber, we saw a sharp increase in raw material over the last, I would say, in the month of October. The bottle prices reached almost 61, 62 rupees, where they peaked. Now it has come down in the range of 53, 54 rupees. So the delta now is good enough, and this business for us is a profitable business.
Okay. So is it going according to your projected levels, or still there would be a catch-up to do?
I think as we speak, we are on the level what we have projected.
Okay. And because now you already have your green fiber, so does that impact on your realization of blended and man-made?
Yes, it does. I think it gives us an edge in terms of margin, because we can set the quality as it or very optimize the quality to our spinning. So I would say we have reached a level of where we have been impacted positively by this investment, and overall EBITDA margin of say 0.5 to 0.7 as of now. And of course, we would like to do better on that.
Okay. On cotton crop, yesterday government announced some money infusion to the CCI for cotton procurement. So even after that, do you believe that cotton prices would remain stable?
I feel with more arrivals coming on and with the season, we'll see that cotton prices would stabilize. As range bound. I don't see there will be too much drop in the cotton prices, but yes, we are still on the higher side as we speak today.
Sure. Sir, in cash flow statement, there is a 26 crore capex. So is this a maintenance capex or modernization?
Yeah, it's a debottlenecking and maintenance capex.
Okay. So this about 50-60 crore is our maintenance from debottlenecking, modernization capex is ongoing.
Yeah, I would say a range of around 70 to 75.
70 to 75. Sir, when do we hear about the next capex plans for the Satluj, or you would still wait for market to improve?
No, see, generally what happens is that this maintenance and debottlenecking capex is required. As you know, we are running 420,000 spindles, so that is required. But any major capex right now, it is only under the discussion, and we are watching that how, as you rightly said, that how the price movement and the demand supply situation emerge.
Sure. Sir, is there any capital infusion happened in the American Silk Mill this 6 months?
So American Silk Mill capital infusion means what we did is that there was some increase in our investment in American Silk Mill, but it's not very major. I would say $1.8 million, not more.
So now what's the total investment in American Silk Mill? Is it upward of 50 crore?
Yeah, you're right.
Okay. And sir, what's happening with the American Silk Mills? I think even if I do the console and standalone home textile business, it's just a 8 crore difference. So what's happening with the American Silk Mill?
So in American Silk Mill, what's happening is that as in the opening paragraph, Mr. Udipji mentioned that we have now appointed a CEO who will be looking after the home textile as a complete division. That is the India operation and US operation to drive better synergy. Point number 2, that we are already, as we mentioned, that we have launched Nestera, so we want to see a white labeling of Nestera in United States and abroad, where we see a better realization. One of the things which actually hit the performance is the logistic issue in US. You might have heard that there is a lot of discussion going on. Currently, US is facing a huge container shortage and the shortage of the drivers to run those big container trucks. So what is happening is that even though there is a decent order book in hand, since the material is not reaching in time from China and India and even European countries, the sale could not pick up, which we expect to get stabilized in this quarter and going forward.
Okay. What would be the run rate of American Silk Mills before you acquired and right now?
When we acquired the run rate, and currently it may not be exactly comparable because of the two reasons. Because last year, almost like 18 months is a big wash because of the COVID-19. And as the recovery started happening, the new issue of this container and the logistic which has been hit to US. So I would say when we acquired the turnover was the run rate was almost $800,000 to $800,000 per month, so almost 9.5 to 9.6 million, which we expect that to some extent catch up to happen in quarter 3 and quarter 4. But it will take some time to come back to the original level because of some logistic issue and also synergistic benefit which we are expecting to come out.
So can we have 100 crore revenue of American Silk Mills in FY23?
Yeah, I would say that would be a reasonable expectation. We are actually we are putting a higher benchmark, but I would say that should be. Yeah, we are actually targeting that kind of a situation going forward.
And Nestera is recently launched, so of this 31 crore of standalone home textile revenue, it won't be meaningful, or is there a good portion out of Nestera?
So Nestera, actually we launched in the month of September, and October, just before the Diwali. So the reflection in number we will see in quarter 4, I would say.
Okay.
Part of it. But meaningful discussion can happen in next year once we see a good traction. Really, what as Udip mentioned, we just started with some hoarding and some direct marketing effort at various locations. What the positive feedback we are getting is that customers like the collection, the design, and we are also expect that it will give us some better pricing power going forward.
Sure. A few quarters back, there was something that some Italian designer teams has been appointed for the domestic home textile business for exports. When do we see the pickup happening in the home textile business from India?
I think we see this in the first quarter of the coming year. We would see a good traction also happening in our export business from India.
So would you like to give some targets?
Pardon me?
Would you like to give some target for FY23 or FY24 for domestic home textile business?
I think generally we don't give the futuristic numbers and the targets, but all efforts are in the right direction, and we see some kind of a visibility and momentum happening after this Diwali festival. We expect that traction to continue going forward.
Sure, sir. I do appreciate that you don't give the guidance. It's just because since 10 years we are struggling in the home textile business, and just to boost some investor confidence, if you are giving some targets or the aspirational targets for next 3-5 years, it would help appreciate us this business, because I think in 10 years, if I see cumulative basis, Sutlej Textile would have lost money in the home textile business.
Yeah, what you say is right, but there are two different things which we have to realize. One is that when Sutlej 10 years history of this home textile business, if you see, we were in suiting, and when we implemented that project, actually it was not the adequate capacity, because suiting business is driven by the large capacity. We shifted to home textile and basically into upholstery and curtains maybe 3 to 4 years back. And 4 years we tried to create our own. Initial 2 years also we were having the Birla Decor under the name, so we were actually not branding it. And this business require a branding and a management team. Last two years I would say that we have a management team, the right kind of a designer. Now we are having a CEO who should look after the entire business. So your point is valid. What we are saying is that our wish is that we create at least a 500 crore business, which will contribute at least to 7.5 to 10% of surplus top line going forward. But of course, this business, as you know, is having a longer gestation period and takes time to create a brand and have your identification and get better margin. But to be very being honest, that we are all our efforts are on that direction, and something which we have probably might have missed or something which we have achieved. We are very positive and bullish on this business because we believe in going forward. They should add to decent number in terms of EBITDA margin.
So this 500 crore would be in 2-3 years or a longer time frame?
No, that is what the internal target of at least 3 to 4 years time frame. We expect that to happen. But as you know that we require a certain amount of at least a base impact by crossing certain numbers threshold so that we can see a better growth trajectory.
And for those 500 crore, any substantial investment needed, or you are okay with the current infrastructure?
More or less, we are fine with the current infrastructure. Of course, some capital investment may be required if we decide to add certain product profile, and if we don't have a specific machine for it. But largely, it should be driven by the branding and marketing efforts what we are right now putting.
Sure. So rather than hard infrastructure, you need that soft issues like marketing and distribution happening. Is my understanding right?
Also, in certain adjacent categories, we have to get in to achieve that. So those categories could be, within the living room. So for that, we might need some investment, but it's too early to say how much we would be needing that.
Sure, sir. That is all from my side. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. A reminder to the participants, anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1. The next question is from the line of Sagar Shah from SK Analytics. Please go ahead.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity. First of all, congratulations, sir, for a good set of numbers actually, because of maybe the capex that you have done for the last 5 years. You are having the fruits maybe going on actually right now.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, so sir, my first question was that almost you can say in our yarn business of the top line, the kind of revenue that we have generated in this quarter, I can't see actually this kind of revenue being generated even in the last maybe you can say 3 or 4 years because of various reasons, because of lack of demand and our economy was down and many other reasons. So going forward, as we all are expecting our Indian economy to progress well in the next, at least in the next 2-3 years. So first of all, do you expect the yarn demand to actually continue at this pace for the next at least 2-3 years?
I would say yes. Basically there are a couple of things. One, the demand overall, and second, India's competitive position in the world textile trade. And I would say the demand is going to grow to some extent. At the same time, the Indian textile competitiveness is also going to grow because the initiative being taken by the government in terms of encouraging exports. We have seen in the last quarter, our export have grown from the first quarter to the extent of almost 56%.
Correct.
So I am very bullish on this, that in the next couple of years, that textile demand for yarn demand from India at least for value added is going to grow, and these 2 years should be good for us.
Okay. So basically, as in the next 2 years, if you see the demand growing and your already capacity utilization is around 92%, so going ahead, do you think that for incremental demand, your capacity is sufficient, or you need to bring up new capacities on board?
Good question. In this, what happens? We have to maneuver the product mix. Even if our spindling remains the same, the product mix, the yarn count, going coarser, going finer, having different blend.
Correct.
Now in the times of COVID, for example, in Q1 and Q2 of this fiscal, because of some low demand in domestic in Q1, we could serve the export market because we could immediately change our product mix in terms of blend and in terms of count. So even if we are able to maintain the capacity utilization to the level of say 94-95%, with the same spindling, we should be able to meet some of the demand. But going forward, if we need to put up a capacity, that can also be answered at that point of time.
Okay, so basically you can alter your capacity to bring up the sufficient demand actually.
Basically, we have to be in the market for the product what market needs. So we should have that flexibility, and we should be able to maneuver our production in a way that we are able to give that product.
Correct, exactly.
So that flexibility we have created in our operations. So that is something which our teams at the operational level achieved during this COVID period, and we have demonstrated that in Q2 and Q1 of this fiscal year.
Definitely, sir. My second question, sir, was on margins. As we have brought out the recycled staple fiber project actually successfully. So going ahead, because of this debottlenecking, and we have already spent 27 crores in this quarter also, which was in the cash flow. So going ahead, do you see our margins improving from around 12% EBITDA to high levels?
I feel that yes, we should be able to improve. As you would have seen that in this quarter also our margin is above 12. So we should be able to improve these margins by way of again coming to the changing the blend or the count or the product mix as the market needs.
Okay, but on the gross level, or just because of the lower cost of raw material, do you think that would suffice? Any changes in your gross margin or that sort? Will it help?
See, as I said earlier on, that we are expecting that at least 0.5% at the EBITDA level, say about 1% of the gross margin. If we are able to improve, we should be able to do that.
Okay, sure. Then my last question, sir, was on the home textile business. Home textile business, can you say that if we are bringing in the new products, upholstery and the curtains business, so which would be our dedicated clients? What would be our dedicated clients towards this business if we are seeing improvement in even in the American silk mills actually?
See, what you said, the dedicated plant?
Clients.
Yes. See, first and foremost in this business is that we have to synergize between the two entities. Now we have created as one entity as Home Textile Division. So American silk mills is the front end for certain price range in the market in the US, and the goods are to be made in India. So this synergy is very important for this business, and that would justify our acquisition of that brand. So that is one, we see what is happening, and we are quite bullish on that this is going to give us good result, number one. Number two, since we have launched new collections, so this business is basically a repeat business. So once you have more repeat business, you get better margin and you get better traction in the market as well. So now we are seeing with the launch of new collections, we are increasing our repeat business day by day.
Okay.
So these two factors are going to help in addition to the new collection being launched. So we are getting good traction for whatever collections have been launched in Nestera so far in last 2-3 months. So we see to build on, and we expect to build on this brand going forward in next 2 to 3 years.
Okay, so based on the product portfolio, you are bullish on that.
Right.
Thank you so much, sir. All the best for the future.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. A reminder to the participants, anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 at this time. Participants, to ask a question may press star and 1 now. As there are no further questions, I now hand the conference over to the management for their closing comments. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for taking time off to attend this call. And I also thank the participants who have asked very relevant and probing questions. And I appreciate that. And we do hope, and I can assure you that our management team is focused on this. Right from, each of the team members across Satluj is quite focused and gung-ho about this company and this industry going forward. And we would definitely like to have better results and good conversation in the next call. Thank you very much and stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Satluj Textile and Industries Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you all for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.